All right, happy whatever it is today, Wednesday. Happy Wednesday night, everyone. Welcome to Mark W's Old Games on a Weekday. I am your host, as always, Mark W, and I'm not having fun in playing an old game today or an old bunch of games. I'm modifying one. Yes, this is kind of part 3 of our ongoing project to live code modifications to this game called Gambler. And the language of choice is Atari 8-bit BASIC. That means BASIC for the Atari 8-bit line of computers, not to be confused with the Atari 2600 machine that most people know and love. Yeah, so what is there to say? This is, again, part 3. This has been an ongoing project. It's just a thing to do for the fun of it, because why the hell not? Hello to Eric Johnson in the chat. And thanks for everybody for your patience, by the way. I'm getting a little bit started late. And I saw that even as of like a half hour ago, there were 3 people waiting for the stream to begin. So that's always appreciated. Right. So very brief recap. I am modifying a game that I had as a small one in life called Gambler. Gambler is a game in BASIC that was distributed by Softside. Softside was a publication that you could buy the magazine and printed physical form paper, that old thing, and it would have the program listings in it. You could type them in, transcribe them painstakingly, and then run your program. But Softside also had a subscription service. You could subscribe to their tape service is what I'm trying to get at. You would get these cassette tapes delivered to you periodically. I don't know how often it was, monthly or bi-monthly. And growing up, my dad subscribed to that, and I got to play with all the goodies he would bring from that. And so, whatever reason, anytime I think of the time in my life when I was playing games in Atari Basic, I was playing the other stuff too, but Atari Basic was a special kind of thing because I could dig into it. I could dig into the source code and play with it. And this is actually where I learned to program in Atari Basic, and that's what I do for a living. You can tell by my beard and glasses and stuff that's what I do for a living. I don't obviously program in Atari Basic these days. It's hard to make a living on that specific ancient machine and ancient language, but nonetheless, this is really where I got started. But where I was going with this is when I think back to Atari Basic and all the silly little games I played, most of them were kind of garbage. They were good for what they were. Just somebody out of his home trying to have a little fun, make something mildly entertaining back in the 80s. And, most of them I don't remember, but there's always been like a few that stand out in my mind. And the one that stands out in my mind the most as a game I had the most fun with for Atari Basic was this very one called Gambler. And we've played this a few times on the stream. Just kind of me against the computer. You can play it with up to 4 in total human beings plus 1 computer player. It's a lot of fun, just hot seating and playing the game. When I was very little, it was a lot of fun anyway. One drawback of the game that's more apparent as I'm older is, it has a bunch of mini games, which actually I think that part is really cool. But like 90% of the mini games are just completely out of your control. It's just, you roll some dice and you win some money or lose some money. And the goal is to get $1,000 before everyone else, by the way. But anyway, I just thought it would be fun to make my own modifications to the game that, I won't say it's going to make the game great or anything, but just to have fun being creative, adding cool stuff. And to me, I like the concept of adding mini games or modifying the existing games to add a little bit of decision making where the player actually has some agency over the outcome, or at least they can like bet. Yeah, I'm a believer that even if a game is purely luck, if you have more control over the way you bet in such a lucky game, then the betting becomes the decision-making part. So in other words, you have some agency just by adding betting into a game. What else is there to say? Not a huge lot. Where I left it was, well, let's talk about, this is session 3 that I'm doing this. The first session, I added a modification to the horse racing mini game in which you can all the players can optionally buy some special horse feed before the race, and the horse feed makes your horse go faster. So it's a matter of, do you want to put in the investment to get your horse to go faster? And we like to joke about what's in that horse feed. Is it something special? So that's done, and it draws lovely speed lines that sometimes look like horse droppings when the horse high speed kicks in. And so I'm calling that feature done. Last time I started working on an entirely new mini game that I'm tentatively calling Buy Roller. And I actually hate the name, but that's what I came up with on the fly. Buy Roller. The reason why I call it that is because it's like the other mini game that's built into Gambler called High Roller, where you just roll dice. I think it's each player rolls 2 dice, and whoever gets the highest total wins some money. But I called it Buy Roller because I'm making a different mini game where it's roll to win, but you buy in the number of dice you want to roll, and you buy 1 die at a time. It goes in rounds, right? Like so first player has the option, yes or no. Do you want to buy a die for $10? And the second player can do the same, and it repeats in up to 3 rounds. I may change that, by the way, to like maybe 5 rounds or so, but up to 3 rounds, so that you can put in up to $30 and roll 3 dice, and that way this gives you a little bit of a decision to make. Like, oh, do I really want to put in more money, to increase my odds of winning? And all the money that's spent on these dice becomes the pot, and whoever wins the whole pot. Now, I've been thinking about all different kinds of ways, like I could make this more complex and perhaps a little bit more interesting. Like perhaps every die that you buy costs progressively more money, or I don't know. A lot of random ideas swimming in my head, but for now, I'm gonna just kind of keep it as it is here, as it's mentioned on this screen. That's lovely, and changing colors. This is, by the way, this is like the old Atari screensaver mode, sort of. If you sat here at the prompt, it would just change colors on you. But I'm gonna type something to make it stop doing that. All right. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, basically, you just buy up to 3 dice. You can buy 0 if you want, if you don't want to participate. $10 per dice. High roller wins. In the case of ties, all players who tied split the pot. Last time, pretty much all I got working was the first part of this, which is the buy-in part. So you buy your number of dice, and that was it. Now, what I actually did was sitting at a Starbucks. When was that? Over a week and a half ago, about. I was sitting at a Starbucks, and I dropped off my son to a charity event that he likes to do. And so I was working on this a little bit. I just wanted to clean up the presentation of the buying dice part, because it was really butt ugly at the time. It's really easy to make things look butt ugly in this unless you're careful. So I spent some time cleaning up, and this is kind of what it looks like now. It's a little bit better. The problem is where I left it at was with a bug. So that's what I'm going to continue debugging. And then once I get that bug fixed, I'm going to try to get the main action and the resolution of the buy roller game coded up and working. And hopefully I can do all that tonight. But we'll see. Last time I felt like I took it nice and slow, and I was answering a lot of fun questions in the chat and stuff. And I like doing that, so I don't feel bad about asking questions, even if it's like a very basic question about how Atari works or how programming in general works. It's all good to me. We're all just hanging out and having fun. But yeah, it would be cool if at the same time, if I could get this feature done. So how about without further ado, I actually debug what the hell is happening here. And I can tell you in words what just happened when this program crashed. And it is simply that after I had, this was working, but I made it prettier sitting at Starbucks. And when you are prompted to buy a die for $10, if you hit yes, it craps out. So that's where I'm at. But it tells you the line 1720. And I just downloaded the Atari BASIC guide. So bear with me a sec, because I want to look at what the heck this error code means. Here's one of the basic. It's for revision C or something like that. I don't know which one I have, but hopefully it's close enough. Hopefully it has, hopefully the differences are very minor and that I don't have to worry about which version I'm at. But Appendix B should have the error code, so let me just find that. Wow, they get the bubble sorting. That's crazy. Okay. That's probably not interesting to most people, but that's an algorithm you learn in college. Basically, it's for sorting data. It's a not very efficient way to sort data, but it's a starting point to learn how sorting works. All right, here's our error code. So we had error code number 12, which means what? Line not found. A go sub go to or then referenced a non-existent line number. That's a big help. Now in modern programming, it would probably just print out what the error is, but this is not modern programming. It's much better than that. So all right, so on 720, I have like a go to a non-existent line. Yeah, you can see it right here. Go to 1675. I don't have that, so I have to figure out what the heck I was doing. So this is the line that gets run when you say, yes, I want to buy a die. So this part here, M of I equals M of I minus 10, that is the current player spends $10. And then we increment the number of dice for the current player by 1. All right, so far so good. We increment the pot by 10. So you're spending $10, putting it in the pot. And then we go to 1675. Okay. So yeah, this is the problem with line numbers. They're horrible. And I did spend some time when I was sitting at Starbucks again, rearranging some of these, trying to make some breathing room by changing line numbers. And that's where you get into trouble, right? You change it in one place, but not the other. Also, you may notice I kind of added these spaces, which you might not have seen before, because I had like this for loop on the outer part and an inner for loop. And ifs, it was getting really hard to look at with the standard way that Atari BASIC tends to get coded, which looks like this. It's like a big block and really difficult to look at. And this is still not the prettiest code in the world, but these spaces kind of make them look like you have a block within a block, and it's easier to read for me. Once you load this up into the Atari BASIC interpreter, it'll actually kind of strip the spaces. So this is just kind of for me to look at. And wow, it started raining really hard over here in New York. It was raining earlier too, but now it's really like pouring. Boom. All right. So I have to figure out where I'm going. I'm assuming that I wanted to go back to, let's see, you bought a die, and now we want to go back to the next. Actually, bear with me a second. Now has, if I'm printing down here, okay, now that person has so many dice. Why would I want to go back to a different line in the first place? Is that a mistake? What I could do is, since it seems like a mistake to me, is just take out this go to and see how it flows. And I think I'm going to do that. It's possible I meant to put this a different go to after. So here's the part of coding that's embarrassing. It's when you can't understand your own code that you had written because it makes you feel like a dummy. And I haven't done this in a whole like 10 days or so. It might as well be ancient history. The amount of coding I've done at work since that is greater than this whole program probably. Right, let me think about this. I guess I'll just try that. I'll try removing that. Well, let's follow along what it does if I remove this. If I remove this, boing, it's going to say current player now has so many dice. And then it's going to say done equals 1. No, that's not right. This is the no case right here. This is when you're done. So it's going to mark you as done when you have either said no, I don't want to buy a die, or that you've reached the maximum, which is 3 currently. So yeah, I don't know my own code here. Over here it should go to, okay, I don't know, starting to gel. Right, so this is our yes case. It should actually probably issue a continue command, I think, which means go to the next iteration of the loop, and then it'll say it is so-and-so's turn. So I don't know what I was thinking with that go to. Or it should actually. At some point, it needs to check if you have 3 dice, and then you're done. Oh, am I okay? I'm already handling that automatically in the loop. See that? In other words, they don't have to code. Hey, if the player has 3 dice, then end his run or what, and stop doing the thing because the outer loop is doing that automatically, sort of, because it's only going to loop 3 times for all the players. All right, so I think I just want to continue here. So I'll cram that in here. And not being an expert at Atari Basic, I'm not 100% sure that's even the right keyword I want. But what I want is to say, stop this current iteration of the loop and go to the next. And I'm realizing I think you actually have to say next, next, next like this. I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. We have the manual, right? Let's see. Is there a continue? Ah, there is. But it's not for a loop. It's right. This is if you break out of the program and you're at the prompt where it says ready, you can type cont to continue execution where you broke out. So that's not actually what we want to do. It might very well be a next. Closes the for next loop to terminate or continue depending on the particular variables or expressions. Yeah, that might be it. Let me think about this. I think that is what I want. So if I put a next I here, it'll be like, it'll go back to this line here, the top of the loop, increment I, and this is, by the way, a loop from 1 to n, which means the number of players. N is the number of players. So this is saying for each player, do all this stuff. And the outer I is saying that represents the 3 dice that you can buy, right? 1, 2, 3. So we're saying first die, give all the players a chance to buy that. Second die, give all the players a chance to buy that. Third die, give all the players a chance to buy that. And so, yeah, we're going to tack on a next I here. I think that's what I want. All right, now we're going to do our save. Hopefully I have this whole loop still working. In other words, the whole programming loop where the development loop, you could say, where I hit the button to save it, and then I can load it up in the emulator and test. And as I mentioned last time, unfortunately, I just hit reset. Okay, F7 is the one I want. So there's an option to make it run as fast as it can, and I just hit F5 by accident, which resets it. So hold on, sorry about that. I have to get into the swing of things here. Okay, now we hit F7, not F5, and it still takes some time. Because that's just how it is. The emulator, I don't know exactly, what bottleneck is in place when you tell it to run as fast as possible, but I suspect it has to do with the disk I/O that it emulates can only be so fast, and I don't know, something like that anyway. All right, so we're going to play with just one player. The goal here is just to test where we are. We're going to try to get to it. Skip all the nonsense. I could probably put in like a little cheat code that would just jump to it. But as you guys might have seen if you watched the previous streams, I have it coded so that no matter what random game is selected, it'll jump to the one that I care about. And I'm just changing that line number as needed. All right, so here we go. Mark's turn. Your dice so far are 0. You have $100 to your name. Total pot so far 0. Would you like to buy your first die for 100? Yes. Mark now has 1 die. Okay, so it's not printing quite beautiful yet. That should be moved to the next line for one thing over here. And it should clear out this whole section. It's writing over like where we were, but it's not clearing out this stuff. I don't think the easiest way to handle this would just be to clear the whole screen and not worry about the stuff at top. Well, for now, this is what it is. I'll have to fix it up. Atari's turn. Your dice so far 0. And I think for now, I have to enter for Atari, but obviously I want to make it automated later. I forgot about that. I'm going to make him say yes as well. And it says, okay, that failed. It made Atari opt out when I hit yes for some reason. And it crashed again. Okay, so let's see. First things first, what do I want to do? I guess I'll fix this bug first, and then I'll try to make it prettier. Actually, what happened is it did make him buy the 1 die. It said Atari now has 1 dice, and then it said has opted out standing pat with 0 dice. So that means something wrong. Something wrong with the logic here. It looks like it's trying to do both things, the yes and the no. Thanks for the likes so far, people. By the way, so you look here. To buy your first die for $10. 1700 is the prompt. If no, go to 1740. But I hit Y, so it should go here, and it did print. Now has so many dice, but then the next I didn't behave as I expected. And the question is why? It behaved as I expected for me and then not for Atari, which seems to imply something about being at the final iteration of this loop. Didn't work as I expected. That's my guess anyway. So next I, let's try to follow the program logic how I think it should work. Next I, it would go back up here, back up here. But because there were no more iterations of this loop, or is that true? Yeah, no more iterations because we were already at N. It should go down after this loop, which would be all the way down here. And it would say the current player has already opted out skipping. That doesn't seem right, does it? Why do I have that there? That seems wrong. I'm starting to remember that I was rushing to kind of finish this up while sitting at Starbucks, and then I got the text from my son. I had to pick him up, so I might have had some code that had been copied and pasted and moved around and left in a kind of garbagey state. Hello, Gorov. Gorov is my former coworker. I used to sit next to him, and he would tell me all the things, all his opinions about programming and South Indian superstar Rajnikant, and and how he is frustrated about the state of banana ripeness in the world. When he goes to the store and buys bananas, they're always underripe, and this very much upsets Gorov. It's his biggest grief in life. And there's is that a crying laughter emoji or just crying? I'm not sure which. Anyway, Gorov says go-to in BASIC Dijkstra must be habit. Yeah, there's a famous computer scientist named Dijkstra. I forget his first name. It's like an initial, like EK or something. EK Dijkstra. He had a famous quote about how people who learn to program in BASIC, it's like their brains are fundamentally damaged, and this whole language should be wiped out of existence, something like that. And that basically go-to is a terrible thing, and he's not wrong. But hey, this is what we had to work with at the time. You know, if you bought a personal computer, Atari, Commodore, Apple II, or whatever, and you're a kid who was into this stuff, you're probably not gonna jump right into assembly language or something. And there were like C compilers and stuff, but that was more complicated. This is what you could jump into easily. And this is how I learned back then. And yes, my brain has been fundamentally broken, as Dijkstra would have said. Anyway, this is messed up, so I have to figure out how to fix this. So it's probably a good idea to state what I would like the logic to be. And what I would like it to be is not it doesn't crash after the last iteration of the inner loop. That would be a good thing. I still don't actually understand how it got to this line, given the next I here. That's kind of puzzling to me. It didn't go to this line, right? It said has opted out standing pat So if you look back to the console, you can see it clearly said that has opted out, standing pat with 0 dice. Oh, I'm starting to see something. Something's starting to gel in my head. You know what that something is? And off by 1. Okay, so what I think I'm doing is, see, notice that I said blank has opted out, standing pat with 0 dice. There's only 2 players in the game. It should be me as player of index 1 and Atari, player of index 2. And then yet it says blank has opted out with 0 dice. That seems like it's reading an index that's off by 1. So the question is, how did I get to that point? I thought I was doing this the same way, following the same convention as was done elsewhere in this mess of a program. It's not a mess, actually. Given the constraints, it's pretty good. So yeah, something is off by 1. Next I. Oh, you know what? Maybe when this might have to do with I might have like a fundamental misunderstanding of the loop for flow control in Atari. So let me show you what I was assuming happens. I go next I, goes back up here. If it's reached, what I was assuming is if it's reached the last iteration, right? So now I is beyond n. So it says, oh, we're done with this loop. I was assuming that means it's going to go after the loop. And what might have happened, what it might be doing is not that. What it might be doing is like something like this. Next I, oh, okay, we're done with this loop. But instead of going to after it, it might just be going to the line after the next. I think I would put some money down that that's what it's doing. And hey, Troy Martin in the house. He says, oh, hey, I did this same thing like a month ago on the Atari 400 Mini. You were coding on the 400 Mini. That's pretty cool. How do you like that machine? I'm just coding on, well, I'm coding in a web browser and this kind of ROM image reader that kind of works well as a basic editor. And then I save this file and load it up in the emulator. Anyway, now I understand the flow control. This has to be what it's doing. So now the problem is, how do I solve it elegantly? I could say F elegance and put in a go-to, but maybe next is not the right way to proceed at all here. And Troy says he loves it. Great investment. Cool. Yeah, you know, I wasn't really, I don't know. I'm not really thrilled to get, like, I'm not really into getting any of those machines like the C64 and the 400 Mini, but I don't know. They're kind of appealing. Sometimes I'm tempted to get one. I like that it has Mule built in. That's pretty neat. Mule is like the greatest game. Right, so how do I solve this? So let's get rid of this next I. What I want to do is say, let's use some English. After you purchase your die, we want to go to the next iteration. All right, I think what I have to do is rely on this next I. But that means I need something like an if. Wait, we don't have else here, do we? Okay. I was going to say an if else, but we don't even have else. If Gaurav is still here. Now, Gaurav is younger than I am, so I don't think he can conceive of this. But can you conceive, Gaurav, of a programming language that has if, but without the else? Gaurav might have left, though. I don't know if he's still here. Anyway, if you want to look up the South Indian superstar that Gaurav taught me all about, I just typed his name in the chat, and you can look up videos by Rajnikant. He's like their Chuck Norris in South India, and some of his movie clips are ridiculous. You might have seen them if you've ever seen like a video that says, check out this crazy Indian movie. Yeah, and this is what Gaurav would do. We would have like a new, I'm in software, so and in New York City, so a lot of Indian people, a lot of people in all kinds of areas of Asia, and we would hire like a new Indian guy or something, and Gaurav would go. Gaurav already had met him because he's very gregarious and outgoing, and he would be like, "Hey, so and so, I want you to meet my good friend Mark here. He's a big fan of Rajnikant." And that would be like the icebreaker. I don't know. I think Gaurav left the chat. Oh, here he is. Gaurav is still here. Yeah, cool. I have to bait people in the chat sometimes. I always have to bait Arturo. I have to tell him something, say something to Arturo to make him appear. Like talk about the wonders of eating falafel and hummus. Arturo's an infamous hater of those things. Anyway, let's get this program going. All right. So what I've decided is I need to rely on this next eye, and I need to write the flow control such that, essentially what I'm going to do is say, actually, this is probably dirt simple now that I think about it. I can just say go to this next I down here, which again, go-tos are ugly in modern day programming, but this is what we have. We have to use it. Gaurav says, trying to scratch my head to figure out which language has an if but not else. This one, Gaurav, Atari Basic. But the way you do it is you construct, I kind of use that here, like, here, if you enter N, right? This is like a prompt. You have to enter yes or no. But all I'm doing is saying if you enter N, handle the no case, else assume it is the yes case. And the way I'm handling that is saying if no, go down here to 1740. And then this stuff here is that yes case. So I avoid, this is the worst circle that anyone's ever drawn. But that is the else. That's the way we do it, right? This is how we do it. I see why people hate go-tos. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta go to what you gotta go to. All right, so that go to 1770 should solve that problem I was having. I still think this is wrong here, though. Let me try to parse why I had that and what it should be. Okay. Why don't I just run it, actually? Let's see what it does. Save as Atari LST. I gotta hit new to wipe the memory. And we wait some time. Now, how big do you think this file is, Gaurav, or anybody else? This file is taking this long to load. It is 21 kilobytes. And it took like, what, 30 seconds to load right there? And I actually told it to not limit the speed at which it can load. Gaurav guessed 40 kilobytes. That's a good guess. All right, I'm going to try to jump right to that thing we want to test once again. And this is the random game selector, but once again, I have a hard-coded go-to. So it just will always go to the one that I'm working on. All right, so Mark will say yes. And again, I have to fix the display issue, but what is happening here is Atari is being prompted. He will say yes. Right. This is kind of what I was expecting to happen. Has already opted out. Actually, hold on. That might not be what I was expecting to happen. Yeah, this was what I expected. Okay. Yeah, so this line here was puzzling me why I had it here, and that's what it did after. This should be a thing for if someone hits no. I think I might just need to add an if or something. But let's go over the flow again, right? This is one. The outer loop is for each die that people want to buy. Die 1, die 2, die 3. This is a loop where they can say yes or no. If they say no, they are marked as done. And then, yeah, I think this should really just be an if, I guess. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Maybe the Starbucks polluted my brain at the time. I don't know. I got nothing. I shouldn't have a go-to 7070 there. Let's get rid of that. And by the way, I'm just curious, Troy Martin, what were you coding in Atari 400? You can let me know while I'm thinking about this. Yeah, I mean, I think here all I need is if is there anything going to this already? There is. 1780 is going to there. Okay. But this should be outside the context of the loop, the outer loop entirely, I think. Right, I'm going to make this a little subroutine. And here's how we write subroutines. We're really ghetto here, Gorov. So you know, I shouldn't knock this. This is the product of its time. That's all. And I actually enjoy doing this. If I didn't enjoy doing this, I wouldn't be doing it right now. All right. So I'm not sure what this guy is here. Let me actually. I'm gonna put this at the very end. We're doing a new thing here. 2100. And Troy says he made a stupid, simple RPG that never ended up fleshing out entirely. Okay, that's cool. All right, so now this is going to be a subroutine we can call. We can get rid of this nonsense. Whatever I was thinking there was broken. So we're going to say go sub 1780. That means it's simply going to go. It's like a go to. Oh, sorry, it shouldn't be 1780. It should be 2100. And this is going to go down here. Print this stuff saying that this person already opted out skipping. And return is. Oh, now I'm getting the flaw in my logic. I want to skip this person, not give them the prompt. I want to print they've already opted out and skip them entirely, which I can do by doing something. Let me think about this. If dice equals 1. Yeah, I really wish I could just do like continue or like next I here, but as we established, I can't do that. So it's all about getting the flow control stuff, right? This is like really basic stuff. However, you have to think differently in this kind of very basic language. No pun intended. So what I could do is, this is awkward. I could put a go to at like 1760 and put that back there. But then the problem is this line here needs to skip over that by going to 1770. Let's just do it. We're doing it. We're going to get rid of the return, though. It's not going to be a subroutine anymore after all. Putting this over here. This is the line. Say, hey, we're going to skip. This person's already opted out. Let's skip them. And it's within the loop, so that we're going to use the next I here. That's what we want to do. Fix our indents like so. Our pseudo indents. And this guy, not that guy. This guy needs to go to 70. This is no longer a go sub. This go sub. This is a go to. There's a little shortcut. It's kind of like idiomatic to not write go to like this. You can just write the line number. All right, that should do it, I think. We still have the ugly appearance problem, but I think this fixes our loop logic. And let's test that out. The ugly appearance problem is how it's not really clearing the screen when it says to write at this location again. So it's kind of overriding the existing text. And I don't know, I got to fix that one way or another. All right. And Troy, by the way, said it was a fun time, though. Probably will return to it again. That's cool. Hey, I could, if it winds up being something presentable, I could play it on one of my streams. Or even if it's not presentable, we could just have fun with whatever you got. And if it, if it entertains us for a little while, then awesome. All right. So once again, it is Mark, blah, blah, blah. We're going to try to get to that point as quickly as possible. I have the, the throttling off, so now we can turn it back on. All right. I will buy a die, and Atari will buy a die. Okay. So despite the ugliness, I do believe this is working. Because now it says, you can see it's updated, right? I spent the $10, and it says Mark's turn again. You have $90 to your name. 1 die so far. Total pot so far is 20, which is accurate, right? Because me and Atari each bought 1 die for 10. And would you like to buy another die? I'm going to say yes, and then we'll have Atari's opt out to make sure the opt out is not working. The opt out is working. So I say yes. Now it's Atari's turn again, and you can see the pot is 30, so hooray. Atari's going to opt out by hitting no. And it does say down here, Atari has opted out, standing pat with 1 dice. Perfect. And I can buy another one. And then it says Atari has already opted out. I saw it very quickly. However, the program just returns at that point. So you don't actually see the game part yet. All right. So Atari was doing his turn. And we can break out of that. That's right. Basically, as ugly as that looked, it actually did work correctly. So now what I can do is there's two options. I could make it look pretty enough that it's readable. Or I could just get right into the dice rolling. I think I would like it to at least be a little better looking. I have to think of how I want to do that. My thought was I could just go to position 1, 11, which was kind of the left-hand column, 11th line down, and just write, it's so-and-so's turn. Here's how many dice they have, etc. But I have to clear out that whole area, or that doesn't look good. I could clear it out a stupid way, which maybe I'll do it because sometimes stupid is good. I go to this position and print out the full line worth of blank spaces, and I do that like however many times I need. I don't know, 8, and just roll with that. And that could be improved later, make it a little more elegant. But I think I'm going to do that dumb way for now. Now, coding with line numbers sucks because now that I want to squeeze in a little bit of code up here, you can see that I don't have many line numbers to work with. Don't want to drag that around. There's like no gap between 50 and 51 here. There's a tiny gap between 51 and 53. I could make a subroutine, kind of like I was doing before at the bottom, and all it does is print blank lines. I think I'll do that. I don't know how many I'm going to print. I guess I got to count how many characters are on a line. Trying to think. Yeah, let's run the program. Actually, it might be on the screen enough. I can just kind of go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Where was this one? 34, 35, 30. I guess I could just look it up. 36, 37, 38. Let's go with 40. If you... It gets a little complicated if you draw out the very last character, because then it moves the cursor in an annoying way. I don't know how else to explain it. So I'm going to go with 40 as my... I'm going to go with 39, just because I want to avoid the very edge. And I think that should work well enough. So we're going to print 39 characters in the worst subroutine you're going to see today. I don't know how many basic subroutines you guys see every day, but we're going to print... what did I say, 39 characters? There might be a better way to do it than this, but we're doing it the dumb way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Okay, we're going with that. And how many of these do we want? Probably it's going to be... This is not the right screen to be looking at, but just to use this sort of to estimate. Maybe we go with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go with 8. And we can just do that by making a crappy loop here. Do I want to use I, or is that going to break things? Jeez. It's 40 across, says Toroy. Okay, cool. That seems to make sense. I'm a little worried if I use I here, does it... yeah, it's going to mess up the previous I of the loop we're already in. So what do I even call this, just to be sure? What do I have at the top here? Do I have to declare this I don't remember. No, I don't think I do. I only have to do dim for these strings and arrays. Well, these are actually arrays of strings, the dollars ones. Okay, shoot, just... I'm going to get clear eye. Clear eyes, wow. Sorry, I'm far too amused. Equals 1 to 8. Next clear eye. Okay. I think that'll do it, but we gotta put in the, we need the return. Get the red out. Exactly, Troy. Alright, so here we're gonna do go sub 2100. And I did like to actually, if you see how I commented the other subroutines, most of these were already included in the program. It's nice to know, be able to glance at what this section is. This is the subroutine for this thing. So I should continue with that line of thought and do that. Rem subroutine, clear 8 lines. And at current position. So it's not setting the position anywhere. It expects you to set it at a time. Okay, so that should do it, but now I have to actually go back to position 1,11 again after it. And I think that's good. Or at least it'll be a first hack at it. It might not have all the number of lines and whatnot perfect, but I think it'll be a good first hack, and we can see how it works. What's this called? Sorry, H1 colon. I'm actually using a virtual hard drive here for my Atari. That's what the H1 refers to. And that just means in the emulator, I pointed to a file and I said, "Hey, this is the this is what's on the hard drive." All right, gets the red out. Wow. We're in super speed mode in the emulator still. Okay, normal speed. All right. Oh, okay. I think you kind of scrolled the stuff off the top, and I'm thinking I might have done it too much. I don't know. Let's find. Let's see what this does. All right, I'm gonna buy my first die. Oh, geez, that's not working how I'd hoped it worked. Okay. I'm just gonna clear the damn screen. Because my hope was I could keep that stuff at the top with like the instructions and whatnot. I'm just gonna say F it. I'm clearing the screen. Screw this nonsense. I'll refine it later if I want to. And this might sound like I'm being like lazy or whatever. This is actually a great thing to do in real world professional software engineering. It's when something is a little more complicated than you expected, and you can still get to the finish line by getting rid of that. You say F it. I'll improve it later. I want to get the product done, the feature done. And then I want to, the only problem with that attitude is sometimes you can't convince your boss or your product manager to allocate the time to fix it up later. But that's another story. So I'm going to get rid of this. That didn't work out. And I'm going to say clear the screen, which is, I'm not sure how to do that. I think I just hit graphics. I think like this, graphics 0. Which will kind of reset the whole graphics mode and everything. I think that's what I want to do. I'm going to comment out this part by typing rem graphics 0. That might do what I want. And again, it's going to clear out that whole thing at the top. Oh, now I'm realizing that I need like a prompt. Otherwise, this is going to be, the instruction part is going to be drawn, and then the whole it's going to instantly be cleared away unless I say like hit a key to play or something like that. So I have to do that. This is initializing. For this mini game. Oop. Right then. So let's make this prompt happen. Let's see. Just do something like this. We'll say press any key. Oh, wait, I already have that. Look at that. It's 1470 is the built-in just press any key subroutine. Ah, perfect. Okay, cool. Cool. So let's try it out. And comments are your friends. I wouldn't have caught that without my comment. Now, they actually recommend, they tell you how you have such limited memory in the basic manual. And, every time you write a comment here, each one of these characters takes up a byte in very scarce memory. And even when you have like variables, right? If you use a variable name like this one I had before called clear eye or outer eye, that if you reference that a lot, every reference is going to be using like multiple times more bytes. So that's why it's kind of recommended you just use like, N and stuff, these single character variable names. But you know what? I need to read my damn code. Maybe I'm just spoiled by modern coding. And if I actually do hit a memory limit, I have the convenience of this in this emulator. I can actually add more memory. I'm currently working with 64K, which should actually be more than enough for this program anyway. This is not exactly a massive behemoth of a program. So we're testing it again. All right, so it I have my logic a little bit off, but it's not terrible. Yes. And I think it needs to wait before clearing if it's gonna say like, okay, yeah, Atari now has such as yeah. So I need to make it wait a moment and print that on the next line. Okay, I had to start taking notes here. Print on the next line. No, actually, I got it all in my head. We want this part to come. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want that to be cleared out. I guess I could just rewrite it. It's kind of stupid, but I could rewrite this every time after the clearing, and then it's not an issue anymore. All right, I'm going to do that. The idea is I'm going to take this code and put it after the clearing. And I'm going to get rid of these remarks now. So this is graphics 1 is where it clears. And I need more line numbers. Oh, God. The thing is, I want to squeeze this after graphics 0 here, but I'm out of line numbers. So I need to shift shit down or make a subroutine or something. I guess I'm going to go with the subroutine. So I'll call it the buyer dice banner. Here we go. Go sub 2100. I'll go with again. 2100 rem. Rem star subroutine draw buyer dice banner. Then we paste that and change the line numbers like so. We don't want indents here because that doesn't serve any purpose. And we need a return. So it goes back to where the go sub was called. All right. I think that solves our problem. The first problem of the banner disappearing immediately before the screen gets cleared. But now what we want to do is, I kept saying we wanted to make the thing that says we now have so many dice. That will pause for a moment. And also, I kind of want to draw on the next screen. So how do I do that? It shouldn't be hard, but I guess I could just do like this should say go to the next line. Yeah, that should do it, I think. Yeah. Okay, so now we need to wait. I think how you do waiting is you actually... This is the dumbest thing. And if Gaurav is still there, he's going to think this is hilarious almost. You don't actually have like a sleep function or a sleep command. And you can see they've done this elsewhere. You simply write a for loop of so many iterations. And it's like every, something like 100 iterations corresponds to 1 second. I think I took note of that, actually. Let me check in my doc. When I was figuring out, kind of rediscovering Atari BASIC, I wrote some random scratch notes here in a Google Doc. And I think I wrote how to write like a pause like that. Maybe I didn't. This is actually gambler specific notes, so I don't. Might have that in a separate document. I don't know. Let me check. Okay, I'm not gonna search all over for that. Let's look for where they pause elsewhere in the existing code. So sorry, I don't want you to see all my docs. Oh shit! What did I just close? The editor. Oh my god! What did I close? The emulator. I mean, not the worst thing. It'll just take a moment to load up. As it makes that lovely farting sound. Okay. Well, that's going. Let's find where they pause elsewhere. Like when you buy a lottery ticket, it pauses. So if you'd like to buy a lottery ticket, if IP equals n, here's where it does the pause. It might be this go sub 260 is the pause. No, this is for lottery ticket generation. I'm not sure where that is actually. Well, I could always just wing it. Just make a dummy loop. It actually might be. No, that's not it. Screw it. I'm just going to wing it. Where was I here? You go to 1770. Okay, before that, I'm going to squeeze in a dummy for loop. Dummy I equals 1 to, geez, how long? If I estimate it's 100 per second, let's make it wait like 3 seconds. I'm not sure if that's true, but dummy I. In any case, it should be a moment. At least you get to see what's displayed before it clears the screen, right? So not terrible. All right. All right. I should really make this a keyboard macro to type and enter h1g.list. The problem is if you type too fast in this, like not even just in this emulator, but even in like regular Atari, it doesn't handle your keystrokes. You have to type slow, not like crazy slow, but if you like paste, it's too fast for it to handle. All right, so we're already like an hour into the stream, and I don't have much to show. I will do it again. That's all right. But yeah, I'm not gonna stay up crazy late tonight. So it might be that I don't actually finish this feature. Okay, that didn't. Still didn't work. Oh, am I calling this before the clear screen? I guess I am. Go sub 2100. Yeah, I'm supposed to do it before the clear screen, right? No, I want to do it after clear screen. Huh. Clear screen, then draw the banner. Then return. What's the problem then? I don't understand. It looks like it's drawing it, and then it gets wiped out, right? So I don't get it. Sorry, so it says the instructions. Did it even have like the hit any key? It did, right? Here, let me check this again. Go on rapid mode again. No, 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 no. Go, 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 go. All right. Yeah, so this is working. Touch any key. This part's good. But then it just displays that thing. Displays that the banner with the stars, and then it clears the screen, which is so weird because I'm pretty sure I'm looking at doing the opposite thing coded here, so I don't understand that. Let me try regenerating the file. It's possible it didn't download or something. What I'm actually doing, I'm using this editor in a browser, and I'm relying on the file being downloaded. And I actually have some automation set up so that the new file, you know how you download a file in your browser, and if there's an existing file of the same name, it'll like, you know, append like parentheses 1 or something. So I have some automation set up to move those around as needed. And then I load it over here. But it's possible it like didn't download or in time or something like that, or the automation didn't kick in time. It feels like I just loaded the older version of it. That's very puzzling to me. So if it's, I'm basically trying again, and if it still doesn't work, I don't know, I'm going to bed. No, I'll try to fix it. But it's weird. Get the red out. All right, so we're loading. If I could streamline this step, that would be wonderful. I did have an idea of how I could do it. Basically, right, having the automation generate just the diffs rather than loading the whole program again. It can basically patch it. All right. All right, here we go. Okay, suddenly it got messed up, but yeah, I don't know. Didn't I have a line in between the stars? Yeah, it says buyer dice. Oh, ow. Okay. outer eye might not be in scope. Is that it? Jeez, this is complicated, isn't it? Okay, so okay, that has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that I wrote 2130 twice. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. All right. And let's not write it so low on the screen. If we're clearing the instructions out of the way anyway, we might as well write a position 1, right? We can do that. Line 1. Let's go with it. I think we're getting there. This is how programming often goes, though, right? You have this hypothesis, and then you see how it works, and you're a little bit wrong. And then you fix that, and you're a little bit wrong in a different way. And that's how you can, you know, make a career out of programming. And it, and something that doesn't sound like it's tremendously complex could take you all day, and then the next day. At least with this program, I don't have people pinging me on Slack saying, "Hey, can you review my code? Hey, can you do this for me?" And then you don't have to go on a Zoom meeting, and then the other Zoom meeting. Yeah. But then you don't have your company town hall, and you don't have to fill out your planned goals for the year. All right, so this is good. Is it the most beautiful thing on earth? No, but it's presentable. We'll see how it works when I hit yes or no, though. I'm gonna hit yes. Mark now as 1 dice. It waits a couple seconds. This is great. Unless it waits too long. Oh shit, is it waiting forever? No. Okay, that was a little bit too long, but not terrible. I can easily tweak that. I feel like we're getting things going here. We're in business. Would you like to buy your first die? Atari's gonna say yes. Now I have to automate him again. And I have to code the logic for automating Atari. which for everything else in the game, well, there's really only. Let me think about that. At least for the lottery tickets in the game, it just always buys lottery tickets. That's the entire logic. For the horse feed that I added, I made it also always buy the horse feed. There's other things it has to choose in other places, like when it plays the sweepstakes mode, the sweepstakes game. I think it just picks a random. Like you have to bet on. You want to bet on pairs or a straight or whatever. I think it's just at random. So we do want to code some kind of logic here. It could be something like the Atari. I don't know. We could just do random. It wants to buy every time it's prompted to buy a die. You could make it for stars. We could make a 50-50 chance it says yes or no, or we could make it like 75-25 yes versus no or whatever. So I don't know. If you want to get smarter, sure you could do that. But let's just get something rolling here. Anyway, so do I want to buy a die? I'm going to say yes. Mark now has 2 dice. And again, I want to make that weight a little bit smaller, a little bit lesser. And now have the Atari say no. Oh, okay, so I'm not making it weight in the no case. That's a mistake. To buy another die. Yes. And it should say something about skipping Atari here. After the weight, yeah. All right, so then it ended because I didn't actually implement the dice rolling part yet. All right, so let's add some more weights. Weighting around, which was, and let's change the weighting that we have currently. Which was, where did I put that? I could make another subroutine just for weighting. So when I did 1 to 300, that felt like about 10 seconds, and that's kind of surprising to me that it would take like 10 seconds to do 300 iterations of nothing. But that's how the machine was, I guess. And I'm kind of just estimating 10 seconds. But I feel like I could have cut that in half or less. Let's go with half for now. And I'm going to make this a subroutine. This is going to be the wait a little bit subroutine. Wait a few seconds subroutine. Sub. Wait a few seconds. 10. All right, and then it just has to return. That's it. Now we just say go sub 2200 every time we want to wait a couple seconds. And this is where I had that, right? So I'm going to say go sub 2200. Okay. Now we just want to make it wait for these situations also, which makes me think we can restructure this a little bit, probably. I don't care. I'm just gonna do this. Well, actually, we see what I'm doing here. There's a kind of a pattern here. Everything's waiting and then going to 1770, waiting and then going to 1770. What I could do is, instead of going to 1770, it could be go to 1765, and the wait is right there. I think that would work. That's a little more elegant. So let's do that. Go to 1765, like so. Get rid of the weights. Okay. That ought to do it. Let's test. We keep iterating, baby. So, yeah, maybe I'll just get to the dice rolling in a moment. I think we can do it. We're going to be reusing existing code for the dice rolling, and we just have to like handle the results and, handling the pot being won by one player, and also handling ties. We can deal with ties later. All right, again, this will take us to our game in progress. I will buy my first die. Wait a few seconds. All right, Atari will say yes. And again, for now, I am the one choosing for Atari, although Atari does not choose for everything else in the game. Mark is buying a second die. Atari is going to opt out of buying second die, and I need to make that go on the next line. Okay. Standing pat with one dice. I'm going to stand pat with my second die. Mark has opted out, standing pat with 2 dice. Now it's going to go back for round 3. It says Atari has already opted. Okay. All right. So let's just fix that one little thing here. When it says you've already opted out. Cool. I'm not going to bother retesting that because it's so tiny. Let's make the game work, baby. So where can we do that? I guess I have to get the dice rolling and all that between these two guys. Although I could always rearrange line numbers. But yeah, so we've got the whole purchasing dice part working. It is presentable enough. Atari is not automated yet, but we could fix that later. Do I want to put a remark here that this is for the buying? I could do that. This is the buying dice loop. All right, now we're going to get into the cool part. Should I do a rem? Let's do the rolling dice part of buy roller. All right, I'm kind of scared. I don't know what to do first. Let's see. Not scared, but it's like, oh, what do I do? Well, let's visit another another game for a moment, just to remind ourselves how this looks, how it works. So what I need to do is remove my go-to that hard codes playing buy roller every time, and that is there's going to be a go-to 1570 somewhere. So I look for 1570. Here it is. This forces a mini game. We want to force a different game. Which game do we want to force though? I think Poker Party is the one that looks good, if I recall correctly. Let's find Poker Party. Hold on, that might be it. I think it's the first one. C180 for corresponding line numbers. 180 is up here. All right, so 1020 is I think what we want. We're going to change this to 1020 right here. Now we're forcing Poker Party. Actually, you know what? I don't even need to. I don't know. Let's just go with it. I was gonna say I could probably just do this, but I don't know. It might be weird. Just it might wind up in a weird state if I do that. So let's not do that. But that is kind of a neat thing. You can in this Atari Basic prompt, you know, you hit break in the middle of a program, and you can say, well, go to this other line, and it'll just resume execution there. It's neat in its own way, but it's kind of dangerous. Not dangerous in the sense of you're going to break, you know, your computer or anything like that, but it could be unpredictable. Like, you know, maybe there's some lines of code that got skipped inadvertently, and it's like, what the hell is happening now? I don't know. Not ruin. I'm making a ruin. Okay, we're going to Poker Party to remind ourselves how this dice rolling stuff works. And I have a good idea, but it's good to see it again anyway. So this is what I kind of want to model it after, because you can see each player pays $20 and rolls 3 dice. And the logic is poker-like. So that's not what I want to model it after. Like, I don't care about the poker logic. What I care about, though, is the 3 dice rolling. Because we're going to be rolling one, 2, or 3 dice per player. Actually, for some players, we're going to skip them and roll no dice. Yeah, look at this. So you see it has my name, and then I press a key to roll the die. And then it does the same for the next one. And the next one, and then it displays the Atari is rolling here automatically. Yeah, so that's what I want to steal. I'm gonna basically steal that with a little bit of logic added to limit the number of dice if you've only bought one or two or zero, and resolve resolve it according to the way my game works. So let's break out of that and get back to the programming editor. So here's the poker party game. I conveniently landed on there when I was scrolling just now. And it's actually pretty, not a huge amount of code here. We have to try to understand what it means, though. I think there's a subroutine for the dice rolling that we looked at before. Do I have that documented? Probably not. Here we go. Dice roll is go. Oh, look at it. Go sub 1450. But you have to, as a kind of a precondition, you have to set x1 and x, where x1 is the horizontal and x is the vertical. Okay. The coordinates of where you're going to draw the die. And it returns x. So basically you do go sub 1450. And from that point, you can just read x to see the number rolled on the die. Yeah, that's actually quite nice. This is probably going to be easier than the buying part. I don't want to get too overconfident. There might be some challenges, but we still want to display like the names and stuff as they did in poker parties. Let's see where they do that. This thing is to display the current name. Yeah, that's for m equals 1 to 3. That's for the 3 dice. Okay, we're getting somewhere fast. X1 is for the, what did I say? That's the position of something. X1 is the horizontal for the die. Okay. X is the vertical. Yeah, I can mostly copy this stuff. I don't know what the poke here does, though. So the poking, I think that has to do with, in general, poking just means you're going to write this byte value in this certain location in memory, and it's not something you want to fool around with randomly. You have to know what it means. In this case, it might have to do with, it might just be a magic thing I have to do to set up the call to the dice rolling, and I don't have to worry about the precise meaning of it. Let me see where else they call Ghost of 1450. If I see the same thing everywhere, it's probably safe to assume it's just magic I need to do. I'm not seeing the same thing everywhere, though. All right, so much for that theory, but then it becomes, do I want to just see what happens if I omit that, and then I could try it with that? Yeah, I guess I'm okay with that. It's not going to break anything. All right, so 1450. What's 1470 that they're ghost subbing here? Oh, 1470 is a touch any key prompt. Right, so after everybody buys in on the dice that they want, I could do that touch any key prompt. Let's do that. So we're going to say go sub 1470. Okay, and then we're going to roll the dice. Just like in the poker party. Where was that? Ugh. I guess we'll clear the screen. Graphic 0, we can XX equals, so that, what was the XX again? The horizontal? Yeah. No, X1 is, I don't know what XX is. X1 and X are the horizontal and vertical respectively. I don't know what XX is used for here. X equals 6. Oh, they're positioning at XX manually. Okay. That's where they're drawing the name, I think. HM equals 0. All right, I'm going to do what we call in the programming world lift and shift. That's a fancy way to say you copy and paste and then fix stuff after. All right, let's lift and shift. What is this? Oh, this is their little timer. TI equals 1 to 100. That's interesting. Okay. For TI equals X. I don't know what that's about. Print. All right. All right, let's do some lifting and shifting. And let God sort it out. No, call this 1830. Get rid of the ghost up because we already did it above. I'll add my remark. Okay. 1840 there, 1850 here. And I'm going to try to understand what I'm doing rather than just blindly copying it. But a lot of it can be copied. What is this? We don't want to modify the money. We've already done that. That was looping through each player and making them lose $20. We already subtracted money for the buying in on the dice. So here, for I equals 1 to n. This is the name. We're going to print the name. Then for m equals 1 to 3. Now this is where we want to be different. This is saying roll 3 dice. Exactly. We want to say roll as many dice as this player has, which is we have n dice, this array up here. N dice of I. What did I just do? Okay. Huh, it's just wrapping it. Okay, it's wrapping a little weird, but that's okay. I'm not sure how this is going to handle the case when there's no dice offhand, but we could try it out, see what it looks like. All right, so for however many dice they have, we do some magic stuff. I'll leave in the poke, fine. And this is the routine to roll 1 die. And d of m equals k. We set up here k is the number rolled on the die. All right. So we're going to have this array of the numbers. I guess we could just keep a running total. We don't need the individual dice. In other words, if you roll a 1, then a 2, then a 3, we don't need to keep track of die 1 is 1, die 2 is 2, and die 3 is 3. We can just keep a running total and call that 6. Like first it would be for the loop of each die, we go 1, and then we add 2 the next iteration, 3, and then we add 3 the next iteration, 6. Unless you wanted to display, you rolled a 1, a 2, and a 3, which adds up to 6. I'm not going to worry about that for now. Or forever, perhaps. So let's change this to D. So D is for the current player, I guess. That's their array of dice. Yeah, what I want is a total, I guess, instead. How can I do that? I guess I'm going to need an array again. I mean, I could just reuse D. Why not? I'm going to reuse D. And we need to set this to 0 before we roll any dice, actually. We need to initialize it. Because what I'm going to do is change this to dm equals dm plus k, right? Yeah. What that's going to mean is just keep a running total, right? Take the previous value and add the last die's value to it. But we need to make sure dm starts out at 0, otherwise it could get funky. And we need to do that before the loop. Wait a minute. No, I'm going to change this to D of the player. We don't care about individual dice. The player index is going to be I. So we want it like this. I feel like I need to clear out this. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do this. What I mean is we're using D because that's used for dice in other parts of the code, and I feel a little weird doing it. So I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna make a new array, and this is not memory efficient, but I'm gonna make a new array, and I don't know what I'm gonna call it. And again, I'm not being efficient with my names. I'm just gonna make an array called total, in which we stick these game totals, these mini game totals. So total of I equals total of I plus k. All right, now once again, though, we need to initialize it. And you can do it right here. We're in the loop for players. We can say total of I equals 0 to start. Okay. It's on prints the name, rolls the number of dice as appropriate, adds up the total as appropriate. P of I equals 0. I don't know what that is. That's something specific to the poker game. And I think I cut it. Yeah, I think that has to do with determining if you have pairs or three of a kind and stuff like that for the poker game. And it's not used in the section that I cut. I think I can maybe eliminate that. And so then it waits after all the dice are rolled. And it moves down a bit. And I have no idea what this is, honestly. I'm just a random code. I don't know what it does at this point. $O. What is $O? That's what I need to figure out. $O. You know what? I'm going to comment out this line here and see how this runs so far, just to make sure I'm on the right track at least. So hopefully we should see some dice rolling, and it'll internally it'll add up the total rolled, but it won't actually display that yet. This part's a little bit exciting to me because I enjoy my cheap thrills or something. I don't know. This is the kind of thing, though, when you're programming all day, you're doing this sort of stuff all day. I mean, obviously you have more advanced tools and a more advanced language these days, but you have to be able to tolerate this very slow grind. And you have to be able to sit here in front of the computer and not get bored doing. I mean, you might get bored once in a while, but you need to be able to handle that boredom. Go for coffee breaks or whatever once in a while. All right. Oh, I still have Poker Party hard coded. Sorry about that. I need to make it go back to my special game, which is the buy roller game 1570. I'm drawing a blank on what I need to search for to find that. Force is the word I use. This force is a mini game. We're going to 1570. Let's roll. Enter H1 : G.list. So has anyone else watching ever programmed in Atari BASIC before, or BASIC in general? Just want to get the chat moving a little bit. Are you watching, Arturo? Have you programmed in BASIC? I know you're there, Arturo. Mark, no. All right, here we go. Buy a roller. And I'll do the same sort of thing. I will buy the first one, mark that with $1. Atari buys 1. So I'll buy 3 and Atari will buy 2. Let's try that for starters. This is my second die. And Atari, yeah, he buys his second die. I buy my third die. And Atari passes. I'm buying a third die. All right, so let's see what happens. It could explode dramatically. Touch any key to continue. So far, so good. Okay, so I need to clear the screen. That's okay, but look at this. Something's happening. And it also drew my name here, by the way. This is like my role. I'm going to hit a key. Look at this. Okay, so it kind of ended there. It didn't go to the next player, which I thought it would. But hey, you know what? We're getting somewhere. Progress. Why didn't it go to the next player? Oh, I think the line I commented out might have to do with that part. Yeah, so let's make it clear the screen for one thing. Graphics 0 right here. And again, I can probably make the layout better and neater, but it's challenging to do that. Sometimes just clearing the screen is the easiest way to go. All right, so yeah, next I. Hold on a second. We have for I equals 1 to n. That's basically the player loop. For each player, do stuff. I seem to have not included the next I, which is essentially the end of this loop, in my lift and shift. So that's something that's definitely missing. I need to understand this line as well and see how much of it I need. And where is the next I? Let's look at it here. This is back at this poker party subroutine. I mean, I can just search for next I. Oh, I think I saw it, but part of the problem is the Atari uses a different space character. So when I search for a string containing a space in my browser, I wind up like losing it. Anyway, let's go back to poker party. All right, so the next I saw it somewhere around here. Next TI is over there. Next I, next. I'll just search for next without space. Next TI. Oh, here's the next I. Oh, that was just for the money though. We have another for loop with I right here. Where is that next I? Oh, it's all the way. Ah, Christ. Here. Poker. Right, anyway, I found the next I. I think it's right here. It's all the way down here. Right. So a lot of this code is the logic for resolving their poker stuff, which I don't care about. But yeah, I didn't include the next I, which is fine though. I can just write my own next I. So all this stuff is about resolving poker logic, basically. So I don't need to include any of that. This part I might need XX equals XX plus 2. Where XX is the position where you're drawing the name, it looks like here. I don't think you need to increment it by more than 2 though, because the dice are more than 2 lines long, and yet that seems to be working for them. So okay. Like checking if they're incrementing XX anywhere else as well. I don't know. Guess not. All right. So I'll include the next I in the XX equals XX plus 2. And then I have to figure out what this stuff does. This is where it displays each individual die rolled, which again I don't care about. It might be neat to say like you rolled a 1, a 2, and a 3 for a total of 6. But I'm not going to do it for now. I'm just going to say the total. All right, so I have to understand that line that was puzzling me and do this sort of a thing. All right, I don't want this because this is poker stuff again. Okay, let's try to decipher this line though. This is just a wait right here, the timer. I could call my subroutine for waiting, even though this one's longer. Let's do that though. I don't like these random embedded loops just for waiting. So we'll do go sub 2200. All right. Then for chi equals x to xx plus 2 positional. I don't know what this is doing. Again, I'm puzzled by print $0. I guess I just see where that's initialized. XTI position. Let's look where $0. I might have it documented somewhere. $0. Not sure as this is never set. Yet it is used as $0. Found interest $0 with no subscript as well. For example, in the context of poker party, perhaps related to dice displaying or rolling. Okay. Well, that doesn't sound reassuring, though. That'll figure out what it actually means. I mean, I could omit it and then add it and see what it does. It's never actually set, though? That's weird. How could that be? Seeing it referenced in a lot of places. $0, $0. Print $0. Oh no, here's where it's set. $0 equals name. This is the name array. The one here. Are we saying this is like it's saying the first player essentially? Always the first player. Why would we want a special variable for just the first player? Padded to 39 characters or something like that. Huh. All right, I don't know. I'll just play with it. Sometimes it's just best to see what happens rather than trying to decipher everything. Okay, so back to where we were. The rolling dice part of buy roller. Yeah, I guess we can just try it. Let's see what happens. I'm not expecting this to be perfect yet. And again, it's not even displaying the number that you rolled. Let's see where we're at here. Go to in basic. Okay, go to is like considered the biggest no-no you can do in programming, but really it depends on the language. What it ultimately comes down to. I'm starting to fade. I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon. Hopefully I can get the dice rolling working and the basic like determining who's the winner or something like that. All right, let's do the same thing. I buy 3, Atari buys 2. Okay, this is Atari second die. Okay, now I'm buying my 3rd. I'm going to hit no for Atari buying his 3rd. And let's see if the dice rolling somewhat works. Okay, now what's going to happen? Not bad. Now I understand why it's skipping. Look at that, it worked. It stopped at 2 as well. And also the Atari dice rolling was automated out of the box. I didn't have to do anything. Which means that means magic happened. No, let me see what that actually means. That means the subroutine I call is already handling that. So Atari's rolling automatically. That's neat. Yeah. Yes, science. Okay. But now I understand why we're doing XX equals XX plus 2. If you saw, I don't think I still have it on the screen. it would clear the dice and then just move 2 lines down to move on to the next player. So this is actually working nicely. I just need to I'm going to display the total now. And where do I want to print that? I'll just print it before the waiting happens. Let me go back to Poker Party for a moment. And we can see up here it displays what you rolled like that. Yeah, that's all I need is a print. I could also keep track of the individual dice again, like I was saying. I feel like that'd be fun in a way. But for now, let's keep it simple, stupid. We're just gonna do a print right after. Total is such and such. Squeeze it in right right here, I guess. What is it? Total? Yeah, total of I. Think that's the correct syntax. Oh, I need to print. So the semicolon after the quotes means don't go to the next line. So I want to say total is, and keep the cursor at that point without going to the next line. And then I do print total I like so. I think that's what I want to do. All right, let's see how that works. We'll iterate once again. And yeah, you know what? Reusable code is what it's all about. It was amazing how magically that was working, and the Atari's automatic rolling was working, and you know, the number of dice rolled, that's all work. Oh, I got an error here. Okay, I forgot the colon to mean a new statement, to indicate a new statement. So we should put that right here. So yeah, after a long day of programming at work, I come home and program until late at night. And then I'm going to go to bed a little bit later than I should and wake up and go, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, gotta make the donuts now. Time to make the donuts. Time to do the programming. Well, literally at my job, I'm not literally just coding all day like this. There's so much other stuff that I do. All right. Off to the races. Once again, we are hard-coded to play the new minigame in progress, buy a roller. Let's try a different number of dice for the heck of it. I'm going to buy... I'm not sure how 0 is going to be handled. I'm going to buy 1. And let's... I don't know. I really don't feel like testing the 0 case just now. I'm gonna buy 1, and Atari will buy 2, let's say. So I'm gonna hit no right here. Mark is opted. I should fix that wrapping issue right there. Atari will buy his second. And now Mark has already opted out skipping. Now Atari goes. And we'll say no. Jetting Pat with 2 dice. All right. And now we roll. I'm going to roll my 1 die. Total is 5. Maybe I should give it a space. But it's all right. Total is 5. So we tied, although we don't have a resolution yet. Should we do the resolution? Let's do the resolution. First of all, I'll add 1 space. Total is, I'll do that. That was easy. And now we can do the resolution. It'll say, you know, whoever has won the pot. And we can assign the money accordingly. We do have to handle the tie case because, as you saw right there, a tie can happen. It can very well happen. And the way I wrote the instructions was that if there's a tie, the pot will be split. Yeah, I'll just do that then. You do have to get into how many players are tied because that was a 2-player example, but there can be 3, 4, or 5 players. So it is a little tricky. You would have to It's actually not that bad because I have the number of players in the game as some variable, I believe. I guess it's n, yeah, with the n that we're working with all the time. It'll be a little weird in the sense that this game tends to always work with neat increments of $10. But now that I'm going to introduce potentially, dividing, I don't know, 70 by 3, all of a sudden you're going to have weird numbers for your money totals. And I have to make sure I don't have I want to round to the nearest integer or something like that. I don't want to have to deal with floating points and the mess of displaying that. I'll just conveniently ignore it for now. And since I'm only testing with... No, that's not true. I was going to say, since I'm only testing with 2 players, there shouldn't be an issue. There could easily be an issue, right? If the pot is 50... No, let's say the pot is... I guess there wouldn't be an issue. I'm pretty tired, so don't take everything I'm saying too seriously. But I guess the worst case would be like if the pot is 70, we would each be assigned 35 or something. That's fine. I'm gonna roll with that. But yeah, total is such and such, and now we're going to evaluate the winners. So what we need to do is I guess we're gonna how do we want to do this? Winner equals, we're going to loop through every player, and for the first iteration, that player is going to be the temporary winner. Like, we're going to have a variable that this is the winner so far, right? And then as we iterate, we're going to compare to the previous. We're going to compare the current guy's value total against the current temporary winner total, and if greater, then that becomes a new winner, basically. The tie case is a little blah. Maybe since I'm getting tired and need to go to bed soon, I'm going to ignore the tie case for now, but I'll handle that another time. So we're going to say we're going to do I again, I guess. I equals 1 to n. We can start with if I equals 1, then for the very first loop, we're going to say winner. We call it temp winner. I don't care if it's a huge variable. Huge variable. It's a little too big. Let's call it T win. There we go. T win equals total of I. And the problem is we don't have an else in this. I have to keep remembering that. We don't have an else in BASIC, Atari BASIC. So, how do we do this? We want to make this go elsewhere. Let's say, I don't know. For now, I'll say 1930. 1930. Then our else case is right here. 1990. If total I greater than T win, the temporary winning, the temporary winning total so far, then oh, I'm not keeping track of the index of the winner so far. That's something I have to do. I need 2 values to keep. There's probably other ways I could do this, but I'm gonna go with this. Winner equals, this is the player number who won. Player, I don't know. I'm just gonna do a winner equals I. Right. So after all this runs, this is supposed to be 1900, isn't it? No. Yeah, 1900, not 1990. All right. This logic is actually quite simple and it should work. We have to make sure we don't go here though. In this case. And go to the line after. Let's make this 1910 actually. Oh shit. Okay, this is so far so good. And then this will go to 1920, 1920. All right, so we have a winner at this point. And we can say something like this. The winner is And again, I'm conveniently ignoring ties for now just because I'm tired. The way it's going to work, though, is whoever, if there is a tie, right? So it's declaring the first player the winner by default. And if anyone ties with him, they don't meet this condition of being greater. And therefore, the first player would still be the winner in the case of ties, basically. Or even if another player overtakes the winner, the first player in this loop, and then a subsequent player ties with that player, they'll get conveniently left out. So let's see, the winner is now I have to use that funky formula to get the name, which looks like this. And that's padded to 10 characters or something too. The winner is, right, we could do this. We can write their total with a total of, or a roll of, I don't know, go with that, a total of rent T-win. Okay. I think that'll do it. Now let's get this press any key go sub in there again, which was this guy. Yeah, I'm sure something's going to look a little ugly or screwy. By the way, it would be nice to fix these guys because they wrap around, but that's all right. Let's leave that out for now. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, people. This is fun. You know, I couldn't do this on my own. I would feel silly if I'm doing it to entertain random people. Then it makes a lot more sense. Nope, I find this a lot of fun. Actually, it's cool, and it's cool to me because I always have it in the back of my mind that this was the cool game to play for Atari Basic, and here I am modifying it. It's neat. All right, let's see if this works. I'm gonna go with I buy 2 dice and Atari buys 3. Now I think I should make this pause a little bit quicker. I think I'll make it loop to 100 instead of 150, so it'll be like a 50% faster way. Actually, not that bad. I don't know. It depends if I'm talking or not. If I'm just looking at it like this, it feels like it takes a while. All right, Atari has 2 dice. I'm gonna stand pat at 2, and Atari buys his 3rd die. Okay. Here we go. Gotta press my button to roll the die. Bam. And to roll the next die. Bam. Total is 10. I thought I made it do a space in front of that. Total is 9. Huh. Did my update not take? Because it seems like it didn't do either of the things I had changed. Like the winner is and all that. And that we saw that happen before my code change didn't take for whatever reason. So that could be all that it was. Yeah, space here didn't take, right? So yeah, something weird happened. Let's save it again. I still haven't encountered anyone who's played this game before. I would like to to see that happen. I don't know. I guess most people don't know these. You have to. It's like a niche within a niche, perhaps within another niche. You have to have known Atari 8-bit computers, and you have to have known the world of BASIC games, not the commercial games. I mean, it could be in addition to the commercial. You have to know this specific game published by Softside. We're not buying the horse booster. I would love it if eventually I have this game as this wild and crazy set of mini games with all this crazy stuff in it. This could be my life's goal. All right, buy roller. We just want to test some basic stuff. I'll just buy 1 die each. I just want to see if my changes took, basically. So Mark says no. Atari says no. Round 3, Mark has already opted out skipping. It's going to say the same for Atari. And again, I have to fix that wrapping, but that's okay. All right, now we roll. I rolled a 4. Look, the space took this time. Okay, cool. Atari rolls. Total is 1. The winner is Mark with a total of 4. Woohoo! Again, I gotta make things look prettier, but hey. Cool. Let's make it give me my money, though. Give me my money. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm kind of using this style of it's consistent with everything else in Gambler, where it pads your name with spaces so that there's always 10 characters. And I guess they did that so they didn't have to worry about different lengths of the names with respect to formatting. Like, you could always be sure it's consistent. But I could just do like, I don't know, let's make it go on the next line. The total of such. I could say wins the jackpot of such. Just let's do that. It wins the jackpot. Wins the jackpot or the pot. What do we want to say? Let's say the pot of. And what is that again? We put it into a variable called pot. Was it? Here we go. Pot. Excuse me. When's the pot of pot? Do you want to try to cram this out on the same line? I think we could. Colon is needed here. Wins the pot of such and such. We want a $sign with a total of blah, 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 twin. Let's give it an exclamation point for emphasis. Don't need that. Here. I keep hitting like home key randomly and stuff and screwing up everything. All right, so that should display correctly, but we should also assign the winnings. So what we can say is M of. Actually, this isn't totally right, is it? It should be winner, not I. I kind of lucked out that it displayed correctly before, I think. Yeah. All right. So M of winner equals, this is the money belonging to the winner, equals, oops, their existing money plus the pot. And that's that. All right, let's see if this works. This is exciting. Oops. Yeah, this step, if I could improve this step, it would make this live coding better. And what I could do is I could make the automation when I hit the save, download from my browser, I could make it generate sort of a diff, which means it only generates the changed lines. And the complication in that, though, is if I remove a line, I have to make sure that gets removed in my diff file. So the diff file would be not like every single line in the program. It would just be a small subset of what I changed. And unfortunately, I made a bug here because I forgot a colon. It reminds me of like my first semester teacher in college programming. We were learning C++. And C++, you have to end every statement with a semicolon like that. And she says, no matter how long you're doing this, you're going to be forgetting semicolons. That's what she said. And it's true. You're always just making these dumb errors like that where you forget a fundamental thing. Yeah, I need to call in here because this is a separate statement right there. At the time, I didn't believe her. I was like, what? Come on, you got to get used to it eventually, right? Surely nobody would make the same mistake over and over for years and years and years. All right, let's load it up. Put on warp speed. Winner, winner. Now, part of me thinks it should be like, I think I said this earlier, that each die that you buy for this mini game, maybe it should cost a little more. Like the first one costs 10, the second one costs 20, the third one costs 30. Also, I do like the idea of it getting a little bit wild. Let the players buy up to like 5, perhaps. Getting really wild and crazy over here. I have the limit on, unfortunately. That's why it's taking longer. Okay. Here we go again. One. I also should test it if it works with more players as well. That would be a good thing to try before calling it a night. In theory, it should just work. In theory. Alright. Let's buy 2 dice each this time for the fun of it. And I should at some point test the edge case of what happens when you buy 0. It should work. It's going to be a matter of is it displayed uglier than I'd like or not. Okay, we're each buying 2 dice. And now we're going to back out. Big money, no whammies. 1, oh no. Total is 5. Atari rolls. Oh, he beat me. Total is 12, jeez. Where's Mark? Oh, that's not right. With the pot of 40 with a total of 5. No, that's wrong. All right, it's time to fix that. And it actually gave me the money too. Okay, so let's figure out what happened there. First of all, let's fix that exclamation point. That should be on the same line. Need a semicolon here to make that happen. Okay, that's done. Okay, so my logic for determining the winner didn't work. If I equal 1, it starts out again with the first player being the winner by default. Oh. I never wrote a next I think. That's the issue. For this loop. I never closed the loop. So all it does is set the first player to the winner all the time, basically. Alright, so let's write next I here. That ought to do it. Okay. New. Now this time, while I'm at it, I'm going to throw in another player. It's going to be me and an imaginary friend sitting next to me. Maybe it could be my daughter's drawing of Gizmo from Gremlins here. Remember the movie Gremlins? My daughter is obsessed with that. Is this backwards? Huh, am I like reflected here? I didn't even realize that was happening. But she loves Gizmo, but she's afraid of Gremlins. So she's always drawing pictures of Gizmo and stuff. She actually drew him looking more like a gremlin here, though. He's green. I don't know what's happening there. All right, so we got player 1 as Mark, and we're going to have Rob Bob as player 2. Skip that, skip that. All right. I'm kind of excited to see if it works with 3 players. Let's all go nuts buying 3 dice each. Rob Bob now has 1 dice. Now I could code special logic so it says die instead of dice in the case of only 1 die. Mark buys his 2nd die. Rob Bob buys his 2nd die. Atari buys his 2nd die. Mark now has 3 dice. Rob Bob has 3 dice. And Atari has 3 dice. All right, here we go. Let's see if it works with 3 players now. 2 human players and 1 Atari. Press any key to continue. And I'm going to press now. And now. And now. All right, totally. Oh, it kind of wraps around a little bit, but we could fix that. We can make it print on the next line, perhaps. And you can see the 11 kind of got stuck there as a consequence. That's all right. We'll fix that eventually. Oh, Rob Bob's rolling a good number, 14. He's the winner so far. And Atari, no hands here. Atari rolled by himself. Actually, it might be good to keep the number on, sort of like. Okay, it's still saying I'm the winner. Shoot. Wait a minute. What was Rob Bob's number? Did he roll 11? Oh, what did I roll? Let me look back in my video here. He rolled like a 14, didn't he? Yeah, I think he rolled like a 14. Let me just review my video though, just to be sure. Yeah, I rolled an 11. Rob Bob rolled a 14. All right, so it's still wrong. Guess let's quit out of this. Why is it still wrong? Jeez. Was it almost midnight here? Oh boy, okay. Time's a-flying when you're having fun, right? But let's see, this is our logic that is wrong. So we're looping through all the players. For the first player, we start out initializing the situation by saying, you know, the current total winning value is total of I. In other words, the first player. And the winner is I. Okay. Oh. Well, this is this is embarrassing. This is the kind of thing I'm like, how does nobody in the audience notice this? But you're probably not really following what I'm doing too closely. Yeah, I have this hard-coded thing where the winner is always player 1, right? See that? Basically, when as it loops through each player, if the current player beats the hitherto winning total, it sets the winner to player 1. That's how it works. It should be setting it to I. All right, so this should work now, which I said about 100 times before. All right. I'm trying to think how I can display that total. Yeah, I guess I could just do the next line. What do they do in poker, though? I thought they printed the same way. Let me check that out. Poker party. It prints your 3 numbers rolled. Position 13XX. Huh. What am I doing? Okay. All right. Yeah, I could work on that. I could make that nicer. Let's go nuts. I'm gonna do 4 players, which means 5, including the Atari. I'm gonna name them after ABCs and stuff. We got Adam, Bob, Carol. Hopefully by hitting backspace here didn't screw up Adam. And we got Derek. No. Oh, we got Dan. Oh, because I hit backspace, Adam is actually Damn. Okay, that's fine. All right, Damn. Van Dam's gonna buy 1 die only. This is where you're gonna see the slowness of all of this whole thing. I'm pausing for a few seconds per prompt. You know, I'm gonna see what happens if Carol buys nothing. Carol's out. She's like, I don't want to buy anything. Something's gonna go wrong between all of this, all these variables. Derek buys. Atari buys. All right. So everybody's bought 1 except Carol's bought nothing. Damn is gonna back out at 1. Bob is gonna buy a 2nd die. Carol gets skipped. Yeah, that's correct. Cool. Derek's gonna buy. And Atari's gonna buy. Okay, now it's looping back for round 3 of dice purchasing. Dan has already opted out, skipping. Bob, he's going to back out. He's sticking with 2 dice. Carol's already opted out. Derek is going to buy his 3rd die, let's say. And Atari will buy his 3rd die. Let's see what happens here. Something's going to go wrong. Okay, Dan is rolling. He rolled a 2. Bob is rolling. He's got a 5. Yeah, I think it would be cool to show the running total as we're doing this. As we're going. Carol bought nothing, so this is broken. Okay, they gave her a freebie. I'll have to fix that. Derek rolls very bad. Wow, poor Derek. He put all that money down too. That would have been really bad, especially if it was like, you know, exploding costs per die. The winner is Bob with a total of 2. That's still broken. Did Bob roll a 2? I'm rewinding my video here just to see. I have no memory span at this point. At this point of the evening. Oh, we're really 3 hours into the stream. Okay, I gotta call this, unfortunately. As much fun as I'm having. Oh, we're not 3 hours. Why does it say 3 hours here? 3 hours and 8 minutes. I started 2 hours and 10 minutes ago-ish. Huh. It's weird. Bear with me a moment. Carol. Alright, so Dam rolled a 2. What did Bob roll? He rolled a... Yeah, he didn't roll a 2. Everything's messed up. He rolled a 5. Okay, so it's displaying what Dam rolled. And also Bob didn't have enough to win with his value either, so something's... I got all my indexes screwed up or something here. So it's time to review that again. But poor Derek, though, man. He rolled 3 out of 3 dice. Alright, let's get out of this and once again review that logic. Oh, jeez. Alright, so it's for I equals 1 to n. If I equals 1, we're doing this special case right here, 1910, where we set the current total winning value to total of I. Or I could hard code it to number 1 even, but this is fine as well. The winner equals I, so the winner is the first player by default. Next die, it goes back up here. If I equals 1, which it no longer is, it'll be on this line at this point. Okay. Twin. Sorry, we are at 1900. If total of I is greater than twin, T win that is, then winner equals okay, you know what the problem is? I need to do 2 things. The winner equals I and T win equals the total. And also I'm not sure I can 19. Why are we going to 1920 again? I don't think that's correct. It's supposed to be 1915. Okay. All right, so I need to do 2 things here. Oh, you know what I could do? Hold on a sec. If it just progresses to this line, it'll work, but I need to say in the case when it's not greater than, so when it's less than or equal to twin, it'll go to the next. Yeah, that'll work elegantly. Let's do that. And again, we're not handling ties properly for now, but I don't care. I just need to get something working. I need to go to bed with something that feels satisfying. Can you do less than or equal to like that? I would assume so. Less than or equal to T, what are we saying? T win? Yeah, then we're going to go to 1915. So basically do nothing if it's not greater than the current leading winner. Current leader, essentially. Just go to the next iteration. But yeah, this should do it. I've said that like 1,800 times. We're gonna try again. Oh, you know, while we're at it, let's try to fix the problem of why Carol got to roll 1 die when she had chosen 0. Now here's the thing, it should say should kind of organically work, because if you look here, it's looping from m equals 1 to 0 in this case. This should be 0. So all I can think of is that either I don't have it initialized to 0 by default, the end dice value, or that Atari loops will iterate once anyway. If you say for m equals 1 to 0, it'll still do one loop anyway, one iteration of those. That seems wonky. I can't imagine it does that. So maybe my end dice initialization is wrong. No, it's right here. It should be good. So I'm not really getting the logic. Yeah, I'll have to construct a separate test case to observe how for loops work in that case. Actually, I could look here. Maybe it'll tell me in the manual. I don't know. I do have to get my butt to bed soon, though. All right. Oh, here we go. We're actually on the right track. I could probably find it quickly. For loop. Use with next to establish for next loops. Introduces the range. The loop variable will operate in during the execution of the loop. Yeah, you know what it is? I think... Yeah, so next is the part that says, hey, let me evaluate whether this loop is terminated or not. I think that's the idea. So it's the next. All loops are executed at least once. Ah, look at that. That's kind of annoying because it's actually a common pattern in programming where if you have 0 of something, then if you're looping from 1 to the count of it, it'll just simply do nothing. It'll not run the body of the loop. So that was an assumption I made based on my experience with modern programming, and it does not hold true with Atari BASIC. So I have to have a special case for the zeros somehow. Do I want to write that now? Maybe it'll be quick and easy. Let me think. Let me take a glance at least. Yeah, it shouldn't be that bad. I could just say, like right. I don't know. Let's see. Squeeze in an if here, I guess. It's a little bit wonky, but I could do it. If dice, end dice, so what happened here? If end dice of I equals 0, then go down to this line here, 1855, and it'll say total is 0 without rolling any dice. All right, hopefully I did that right. If end dice I equals 0, then 1855, it'll jump down here, and it'll say total 0. All right. I feel like the light at the end of the tunnel is approaching. What are we calling this? G.list. Nothing but a G thing. A G-list thing. And I'm calling the file G.list, my automated script, just so I don't have to type gambler out every time. So again, I could probably make this a macro. Again, though, if I send keystrokes too fast, it doesn't accept them all. Anyway, what happened here? Oh, did I not type then? Oh. Total I less than or equal to 20. Yeah, I didn't type then. Okay. Enter. I wonder if I can make a macro that pauses for just the requisite amount of milliseconds per keystroke. It's probably a way I could do it. I just don't know if my if out of the box I have a good way to do that. Like I have my keyboard, which has programmable macros, and I use Mac OS, which lets you do programmable macros too. Did I just get an error again? Yes, I did, huh? So again, this thing probably didn't take. That happens sometimes. Yeah, once I get something, Basically working to my satisfaction. I gotta jump. I gotta bail, guys. I gotta get some sleep. Sad but true. Okay, that worked. Let's go with the 4 players again. Let's do it. Adam, Bob, Carol, Derek. All right. Adam buys 1. Bob buys 1. Carol's going to back out like last time and buy 0. Derek buys 1. Atari buys 1. Adam backs out with only 1 die. Bob buys his 2nd die. It'll skip over Carol right now. Yep. Derek buys his 2nd die. Atari buys his 2nd die. All right, Adam has opted out already, so skipping him. Bob will back out at 2. He does not buy a 3rd die. Carol will skip over. Derek will buy his 3rd, and Atari will buy his 3rd. All right, let's roll. Literally, haha. Oh no. Let's look at what error 13 is. I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out at a glance, most likely, but let's check it out. Appendix B has the error codes somewhere around here. It's Appendix H. Okay, what I say 13 is no matching for statement. A next was encountered without a previous for or nested for next statements do not match properly. All right. So we have to check 1850. Check over here. Next M. Oh, okay. Okay. So we do have the M loop, but I think somehow we got to the next M before the a colon is here for some reason. Oh wait. No, that's okay because that's part of the line. See, I thought this for a second. I thought that 1855 was the line number, so I got confused. But this is all one line. All right. If n dies equals 0, then 1855. Yeah, it should should work, I would think. This might be where I have to call it work because I'm too tired to debug. So what I can think of is it's somehow reaching next M before getting to this 4M equals 1. So how could that possibly happen is the question. If n dies I equals 0, then 1850, it could go down here. Next die goes back over here. I feel like it should work. There is an issue where if you make your line too long, and I don't know exactly the character limit, it'll get truncated. So I'm kind of tempted to see if that's the case. Could it possibly have gotten truncated? Let's try that. List 1840. And I think that's it. The last thing is total I plus K. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So much for that suspicion. So how did it get to next M without the 4M? I mean, what did I add though? I added this. So it might have something to do with that. But I just can't follow the logic of how this could happen. Goes down here, then it goes up 2200, goes here, does this stuff, next TI position, blah, blah, blah. Next I should take us back up here. I don't really understand. Huh. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I need that check for n dice 0, though. That's the thing. If n dice I equals 0, then 1855. I'm just trying to make sure I got all my colons lined up and stuff. Get in the right place. Yeah, I don't know. This is line 1840. This is line 1850. This is 1855. I mean, it has to be related to that. The only other thing I modified was well, I guess we should look down here. Is there a next M? Is there a way to get to this line from here, maybe? If I equals 1, then 1910. No, I mean, this should be fine, huh? Yeah, I don't know. It was right when Adam was printed, so the very first thing that happened, Adam is the very first player. It got to this point. Yeah, it seems like this if is somehow faulty. If n dice equals 0, then 1855. But 1855 is not a next M. How to get to 1850? If I search the whole source code for 1850, I see that there's no go to 1850. There's no go sub 1850. Just somehow getting to this line, though, without executing this 4? That doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know. Let me check that error description again. 13 is no matching for statement. A next with encounter without a previous for or nested for next statements do not match properly. Could it be that? Or nested for next statements do not match properly. Error is reported at the next statement, not the for. Well, I got that part. Okay, maybe it's I can't skip around like that. Like, I guess it doesn't like how I'm skipping around somehow. I don't get why, but that seems to be the case, perhaps. Yeah, I guess because it's a nested loop, and I can't have one special case exit the loop. I guess. So I guess I have to restructure this, perhaps. All because it can't handle a for loop with for m equals 1 to 0. It'll always execute once. What if inside this case I said something like, if n dice I is 0, go elsewhere? I could probably get away with that. In fact, I could make it jump right to the next M instead of doing everything inside the M for loop. Maybe that'll do it. Let's try that. Kind of bonkers, but I'll try it. This whole language is bonkers. All right, let's try it. Copy that. Get rid of that colon. So all we're doing is essentially moving this logic inside the inner for loop, or the M for loop, as I sometimes call it. We're going to go to the next M, though, like so. Or M is for each die, right? Okay. That's fine. Yeah, this should work. All right. It's kind of weird that I have to do that, but so I'm not sure if it works yet, so All right, so I'm not going to do the elaborate example of 5 players if I'm still trying to get this kind of fundamental thing working. I'll just make, I'll just use my own guy. I'll play 1 player, and I will buy no dice, and Atari will buy 1. Let's say. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. All right, I will buy no dice, and Atari buys 1 die. Atari now has 1 dice. Mark has opted out, skipping. Atari buys no more dice. All right. Slaying through round 3. Opted out, opted out. Mark's total is 0. That seems to have worked. Oh. And it's the same error about the... Oh, shit. All right, I might have to end it here, but let me just take a quick look. So again, next M is run, and it's saying, giving me this error 13, which means no matching for statement for the next. So it worked for my guy who came first, because in the M for loop, I said if number of dice is 0, then go to 1850, which is simply next M. So what it did was it repeated. It did that for the 1 iteration of that loop. And then it moved on, for the outer I loop, it should be moving on to player 2, who's the Atari. And, displays their name. Did it get to displaying their name? Yeah, it did. For M equals 1. To N dice. And Atari had 1 die, so it should work. If N dice equals 0, no, that's not true. So it should go here and here and here, do this stuff. But it didn't do this stuff. And instead it just said next. It said it was on 1850, and that failed. I don't understand that. It's almost like this condition was true for it, even though he had 1 die. I don't understand. I might just need to structure this better and not do weird things. For lack of a better phrase. Right, so what would be a better way to do this? I could say I could like avoid this whole thing entirely. I don't know. I could not allow you to to buy no dice. I'm kind of surprised this is so hard to handle, this edge case. M equals 1. I mean, I'm not like zipping around outside the fundamental loop structure. Right? All I'm doing is skipping over the stuff inside the M loop if this condition is true here. But that shouldn't matter for the Atari case. I don't get it. It worked for me. Well, it said total is blind. Did it not say 0 though? I thought it said 0. Huh. Let me check that again out of curiosity. I really ought to call it a night though. No dice for me and 1 for Atari. skipping. Yeah, it did say my total is 0. That's correct. And it paused, so it was like here and everything. Okay. Hmm. Well, I'll be darned. I don't know. Now, everything was working before I had that special check for n equals for number of dice equals 0. And again, in any other language, this would organically work if n dice of I was 0. It's kind of funny that I have to handle that case. But if I handle it within the loop, it doesn't work. Well, it's more like if I handle it within the loop, it breaks the subsequent iteration of the outer loop. How does that make sense? But if I put it before, if I put it right here, it'll break this guy. Actually, did I I wonder if it has to do with the order of the player that's breaking. Because before I was doing it with Carol, who was the third player. Could it have to do with that somehow? Like it's always good with the first guy, but then later on, I don't know. All right, this might have to be where I call it. It's kind of sad. I would like to show like a complete feature here. Am I fiddling with these variables? Like the loop variables within any of this? I don't think I am. M. Yeah, bizarre. Is the go sub messing anything up? 1450 is what? That's the press any key, right? Wait, what is this? Go sub 1450. Oh, that's the dice rolling stuff. Okay. I don't really know what the magic poke here does, actually. If. Let's check how if works. All right. I guess that's it for tonight, folks. Just so we can go out with on a nice note. Why don't we ignore that for now? We're going to ignore this 0 edge case, 0 dice edge case, and just see something beautiful work. So let's do that. We're going to see something beautiful work. We're going to have all the players buy a bunch of dice and see what happens. Adam, Bob, Carol, and Derek. We're all going to roll 3 dice each. Adam buys his first die. Yeah, I should make that pause a little less right here. Or I could make, you know what I could do? I could make it like progressively get smaller. Like the first time you wait like 3 seconds, and after that it's like 2 seconds. And then 1 second maybe. Because eventually you're kind of like, all right, I get it. I've read this before. That's probably a little more complex than anyone really cares about, though. We'll get like AI built into this. It'll try to read your habits and respond accordingly. All right, everybody's buying all the dice they can. We're going to see a massive dice off. 5 players rolling 3 dice each. By my math, that's 15 dice rolled. Carol's got 3 dice. She's ready to go. And Derek gets his 3rd die. He's ready to go. And the Atari computer gets his 3rd die. And he'll be rolling his die automatically. It's pretty awesome. Oh, no. You know what it is? It seems like it's not the 0 case that breaks it. It's trying to handle the 0 case breaks it. There's something fundamentally wrong with it. Even if this evaluates to false, it breaks it. End dice. All right, then I'm gonna take it out. Then screw it, taking it out. All right. And one of these days I'll go to bed. Hopefully, what is it? 12:26 here in New York. Yeah, I got. I'll finish this by 12:30 for sure. Right, right. And we run. Adam, Bob, Carol, Derek. No. Here we go. The big dice off. This time it's gonna work. If it still doesn't work, I'm going to bed. At that point, it's like, well, I know what I did. When this happened, I did change two things at once. I tried to handle the zero case, and there was something else I changed to, but I'm like too tired to even remember. It was something below that. Yeah, screw it. Let's just see what happens. I don't want to try to figure it out. Sorry, has 2 dice. Adam has 3 dice. Bob. Carol. It's funny that the peak of my stream is as far as viewership goes is about now. Now that I'm like passing out and frustrated. Early on, there weren't too many viewers. But I appreciate you guys for joining. All right, here we go. It's working so far. Yeah, that if the presence of the if was breaking it, it's not allowed or something. Adam is rolling nicely. Look at him. He rolled a 15. Good job, Adam. And again, we'll try to fix that display. Bob. Ooh, he rolled well too. A 13. That does not beat Adam's 15 though. Carol rolls a 14, and that does not beat the 15 of Adam's roll either. Everybody's rolling great though. Derek rolled a average 11, so Derek didn't roll spectacularly. Atari, this is him doing it, not me. Atari rolls the poorest with 7. And Adam should win this with 15. Look, it worked. Cool. Look at that. And they gave him the right amount. Because each player bought $30 worth of dice. So he won the pot of 150. Now, I would feel a little better about, like a little more confident knowing the logic worked if it was a non-player 1 who would happen to win. Because that was kind of the bug, right? Player 1 was always winning. So, but you can look, it did properly assign the money. So that worked. Adam spent 30, so he was at 70, as everyone else did here. And now he has 220 for winning the pot. So that's pretty nice to see. Let's give it one more go. We're going to skip the lottery and the special horse feed. And again, for anyone who hasn't been following, this random mini game selector is hard-coded to go to the one that I'm building right now. So I'm going to try this again. And we don't have to buy quite as many dice. We'll try to make it go faster. Let's just do 1 die each. I would just want to make sure that it lets somebody else who's not player 1 win the roll-off. All right, so now we're going to hit no across the board for round 2 of dice purchasing. You know what the ultimate thing is going to be? Once I get this game into some crazy form where I have like multiple new mini games and all this kind of fun stuff, I got to get a group together to play it on stream. I'll get my son and I'll get my my non-existent friends to join me. No, I could probably get some people to join me online even. You could just like tell me what to type and I'll just do it for you. All right, so everybody's opted out at this point. It should be 1 die each. It's a big 1 die roll off. Adam rolls a 1. He sucks. Okay, this time, this should test, right? If another player can win. Bob rolled a 3. Carol rolled a 3. All right, they're tied. It always favors the first player in the case of tie because we're not really handling ties yet. Derek rolls a 6. He should be the winner. And Atari does this by himself. He rolls a 5. All right, Derek is the winner, right? And should win 50. Look, it worked. Yay. Hallelujah. All right. That's satisfying enough for me to call it a night and not go to bed crying. No. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I'll work on the displaying a little bit. Maybe it'll say the running totals, and I'll try to handle that 0 case somehow. I mean, I could just remove it, but I hate to remove it just for some stupid technical reason that's eluding me. And it's such a basic thing, right? Seems like it should be a basic thing. All right. Well, that's it for tonight, folks. And I appreciate everyone for joining me. It was a lot of fun doing some live coding in Atari Basic. And I don't know what I'm doing next week for my retro gaming stream. You know, there's so much I have on in my queue. There's so many fun things to check out. But I'm definitely not gonna give up the Gambler entirely. I'm gonna return to this. And I don't want to wait months like I did the first time. Like I did the first stream in September, the second one in February. So yeah, basically I want to keep this going at least once every few weeks or so. It's a lot of fun. And maybe offline I'll try to debug that issue and prettify this screen a bit. And yeah, that's all, folks. So I appreciate your viewership and all these lovely likes I'm getting and stuff. And yeah, if you like what you're seeing here, don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't already. And that's all I got. So yeah, thanks again, guys, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Take care.